On Citrus TV News live at 6, the Syracuse University College of Law introduced its new dean. We'll take you to Dineen Hall with more on the story.
And in a unique decision, two presidential foes are teaming up. Talking Points executive producer Mike Riccardi is in studio to tell us more.
And President Obama is traveling this week. Find out who he spoke to and what he announced.
And it was certainly a rainy day on campus today. We'll have your full work week forecast. All that and more, Citrus TV News starts right now.
From the Citrus TV studios, this is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening and welcome to Citrus TV News live at 6. I'm Katherine Robinson.
And I'm Josh Bazan. The College of Law held a reception for their new dean. That's where we start tonight. The Syracuse University College of Law has a new dean. The school hosted a ceremony for Dean Craig Boise this morning in Dineen Hall. The program included formal speeches introducing the dean and was followed by a welcome reception. Dean Boise said he hopes to expand the legal education offered at Syracuse beyond the JD program. During the reception, both the chair of the Dean Search Committee and the new dean spoke on how Boise could improve the law school.
I think he's a really nice guy too, so that's a good thing. He's really engaged, seems to be very engaged with our community already. He's really only known us for a couple of months, and he's excited about working with the students, excited about working with faculty, excited about really addressing the challenges that all of legal education is facing today in light of many changes in the legal profession.
I have an orange tie and I plan to get more of them, so I'm looking forward to being here. I think there's a lot of excitement on campus, both at the law school and across the university.
Syracuse Athletics is moving into an elite class of college programs after a strong 2015 to 2016 season for its teams, as she was ranked number 10 nationally in the final winter release of the Directors' Cup standings, a national competition that ranks college programs based on athletic success. This is the best Syracuse has ever fared in the rankings.
Syracuse University won the EPA's equivalent of the ACC tournament this year after it was recognized for using more green power than any other school in the conference. 35% of SU's annual electricity usage is now run on green power, and the university is showing an increased commitment to renewable energy alternatives. The EPA's College and University Green Power Challenge has been tracking green power usage in athletic conferences since 2006.
Bernie Sanders' chances of winning the nomination declines, progressives in Washington are trying to change the agenda of the Democratic Party.
The Congressional Progressive Caucus is trying to use the popularity of the senator to move forward on some of his plans, such as increasing minimum wage and banning fracking.
While Sanders is still hoping to win enough to get the nomination, progressives believe that his presence in the race alone will help them for years to come.
The campaigns of Ted Cruz and John Kasich have announced plans for both candidates to work together in order to stop Donald Trump.
Although both candidates have been critical of each other in recent weeks, each candidate will concede certain states to the other.
GOP frontrunner Donald Trump has called the plan an act of desperation. Here with the latest is Talking Points executive producer Mike Riccardi. Mike, thanks for being on the show.
Glad to be here.
So what are the details of this plan moving forward? What do you know now?
So basically, Ted Cruz is going to concede Oregon and New Mexico to John Kasich, and John Kasich is going to concede Indiana to Ted Cruz. However, we must note that they are not telling their supporters to vote for the other guy, but they're basically just stopping their campaigning as of right now in an attempt to stop Donald Trump from winning those states.
And is this a plan that you think will actually work?
So Indiana is a pretty big state in the election process, and if they can do well there, it may stop Donald Trump in his path to the nomination. But Cruz still trails by 8% in Indiana, and John Kasich only makes 16% of the other vote. The other big states are Pennsylvania and California, and as of right now, those states are not included in this plan. So they need those if they really want to stop Trump.
Great. Thanks for joining us, Mike. We'll be anxious to see what happens in the coming weeks.
Thank you.
And tune into Citrus TV this Thursday at 7:30 for more election coverage on Talking Points. And coming up after the break, we'll have all you need to know about the president's visits abroad.
Plus, the latest on the controversial LGBT laws in the South.
It was a dreary day in Syracuse and more rain is coming our way. Find out when we can expect warmer temperatures and sunshine by staying tuned to Citrus TV News for my full weather forecast. We'll be right back.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Big news out of Cleveland. The family of Tamir Rice will receive $6 million in a settlement with the city.
Rice, a 12-year-old boy who was holding a pellet gun, was shot and killed by Officer Timothy Lohman.
In exchange for the settlement, the city of Cleveland will not have to admit any wrongdoing.
This comes after a December case in which Lohman was not indicted for the shooting because it was ruled as a mistake.
And Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe issued an executive order to expand voting rights, but it's not for a group you would expect.
Governor McAuliffe gave voting rights to over 200,000 convicted felons in Virginia.
The felons must have completed their sentence and finished parole. Most people who gained their rights back have been African American.
And the backlash against Mississippi and North Carolina is more serious than originally thought.
There have been many reports about musicians boycotting the state, but it is really the travel industry that is being hurt most.
Thousands of people have canceled hotel reservations, and many groups who hold meetings in the two states have pulled out.
States like New York and Connecticut have issued a non-essential travel ban, and Britain has issued a travel advisory to its citizens.
The city of Charlotte has already lost about $2.5 million due to cancellations in just over a month, and these losses are likely to grow.
North Korea launched a missile from a submarine on Saturday, sparking concern from officials around the world.
The North claims that U.S. military action on the Korean peninsula justifies its nuclear action.
A former North Korean ambassador says the tests were fair, self-defensive matters in the face of U.S. nuclear threat and blackmail.
He says the North will continue with nuclear activity so as long as the U.S. does not cancel its own nuclear war exercise.
Including Paris, Brussels, Istanbul, San Bernardino in California, and on a much more frequent basis attacks and horrific violence that's taking place in the Middle East. We discussed the importance of maintaining our strong security cooperation.
President Obama announced today that the U.S. will increase their number of ground troops in Syria.
Obama said that although they will not be leading the fight against ISIS, the 250 special forces being deployed will help with training and assisting local forces.
Obama was speaking in Germany, where he also said that Europeans need to remain united in the face of economic and terrorist threats. Saudi Arabia has a new reform plan to get them away from oil dependence. Prince Mohammed bin Salman had released his Saudi Vision 2030 plan, which has lofty goals and policy changes for the next 15 years.
There is a hope that these plans will create jobs, stimulate their economy, and bring social freedoms like the right for women to drive.
However, the plan is expected to push for more private sector jobs, so there is a worry that the plan may fail.
The exact details of the economic plan are expected to be released in June. Well, there's definitely something to be said about April showers and May flowers.
That's right. With your full weather forecast, here's Rebecca Castor. Rebecca?
Thanks, Josh and Catherine. Hopefully the saying April showers bring May flowers rings true because rain is in the forecast this week. Our current conditions show cloudy skies with temperatures near 48 degrees. And now taking a look at our Doppler radar, we'll see some rain coming in tonight and tomorrow. We're expecting steady rainfall starting later this evening that should continue into Tuesday. We may see a possible short break from the showers early tomorrow afternoon, but the rain should continue for the most part of tomorrow. And these gray skies and cooler temperatures are due to the stationary front we see affecting the northeast region, but no worries because sunshine is coming our way. But first, tonight, expect a low of 41 degrees with an 80% chance of rain and 8-mile-per-hour winds coming in from the northeast. And for our 5-day forecast, the rain won't stick around forever. Tuesday, we have a 90% chance of rain with a high of 46 degrees. But Wednesday, there's that sunshine with a high of 53 degrees. And Thursday, partly cloudy skies with a high of 57. Friday, we have some rain coming in with a high of 60 degrees, but that sunshine will be back out on Saturday with a high of 64 degrees.
Okay, when are we going to see that sun, Rebecca? What's a good day to be hanging out on the quad this week?
All right, so Wednesday seems like a pretty good day to be hanging out in the quad, but it is going to be a little cooler than it was last week. So Saturday, the temperatures are going to rise, and that's a better day to be out on the quad.
So Rebecca, all I can think about this week is Mayfest on Friday. It looks like there's going to be rain showers. Is that true?
There are going to be rain showers on Friday, but hey, last year I heard there was snow during Mayfest, so it won't be as cold as last year, so that's a plus. The showers should be tomorrow, Friday afternoon, so if you're going to head out to Mayfest, I'd go earlier in the day or later that evening.
And it's hard to believe we are already heading into finals, and I know whenever it gets really great weather out, it's really hard for people to study. So what's the weather looking like next week during our study time?
Well, Syracuse students won't mind being indoors next week because we do have cloudy skies and rain for the forecast next week.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, Rebecca. And coming up next, the Queen of Music is back.
And we're not going anywhere. Stick around.
Can't sing and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
Well, it's no surprise final exams are quickly approaching. Along with them comes increased stress for both students and faculty. Citrus TV's Brendan Tierney has more on how people cope to get through the end of the semester.
Finals are the time where your grades can only go down and they can never go up.
Finals are stressful, honestly.
With stress levels near an all-time high, many students are coming right here to Byrd Library to study up and get ready for their final exams. Once inside, there are many ways to best utilize study time, from group work to isolation.
60% of group study and 40% of alone study. So that's what makes you go out already.
It gets a little depressing. Sometimes I get rooms. There's private rooms here at Byrd Library, and it gets really annoying sometimes. Like I go in there 3-4 hours at a time and study.
As students flock to the library, there are different ways of reducing stress and getting through the exam cram.
I'll be drinking a lot of coffee, hopefully be sleeping every chance I get, and hopefully if I see a dog, I'll just go run and pet it, and that'll make things better.
The only legitimate way to reduce stress about finals is unfortunately just to study harder during the semester. And then when you study harder during the semester, it just becomes less of a load on you because you already remember most of the stuff.
For those students who need to cram for finals, study centers are open extended hours through the exam period. Brennan Tierney, Citrus TV.
A study released today might make you change the way you do your laundry. Research found a 20% increase in reports of children ingesting laundry pods over the past 2 years. A child is reported to Poison Control Center every 45 minutes with detergent poisoning. Earlier this year, the Detergent Poisoning and Child Safety Act was introduced, calling for a harder to open packaging and adding a bitter tasting coating to the pods. And Fiat Chrysler has announced the recall of over 1 million of their vehicles. The cars may unexpectedly roll away when the transmission is improperly used. The recall joins a string of recalls from other manufacturers that is settling at above an average pace in 2016. The total amount of recalled vehicles, however, is not expected to reach the record 60 million cars in 2014 following the General Motors crisis.
The Jungle Book remains at the top of the box office after its second weekend, earning an estimated $61 million. The Huntsman Winter's War is in the #2 spot, taking in $20 million in its opening weekend. In third place is the Barbershop sequel, which earned just over $1 million. And Beyonce is back by popular demand, and ladies, let's get in formation. Her second surprise album, Lemonade, made its debut Saturday night following an hour-long film about her music on HBO. The album details Beyonce's trials as a scorned lover and was only available on the music streaming service Tidal, owned by her husband Jay-Z. But Lemonade can officially also be found now on iTunes. Now tossing things over to sports, we have KJ Vaughn, and just know, KJ, they don't love you like I love you.
Josh, they don't love you like I love you. But coming up in sports, we take a look at some women's lacrosse highlights, and a women's lacrosse player made some history over the weekend. Also, the NHL playoffs are in full swing. We've got a rundown of tonight's games. So stay tuned. It's all next, so don't change the channel.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Surprise!
Preventing wildfires. That's all Smokey wants for his 70th birthday.
Thank you, dear. Well, you're very supple, just like I was at your age. Back then, I was a sex expert. Used to call me the buttered biscuit. I know about birth control, too. So you can ask me anything, baby.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
Huntington!
Every proper bear knows that the right fit means everything. Especially when it comes to car seats.
Oh, really? I just did what any bear would do.
So know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size.
I like it.
To learn more, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Oh, hello there.
Oh, where's that bear?
The women's lacrosse team entered the weekend looking for a big win to get some momentum before the ACC tournament. Enter old Big East foe Louisville. The Cardinals came to the Dome on Saturday looking to spoil the women's weekend. And it was senior day in the Dome, and there you see it, the seniors getting honored with a photo. Jumping into the action, it's Kelly Cross scoring first here. That would put SU up 3-0. That was 22 minutes left in the first half. Jumping into the second half now, it is Courtney Daly of Louisville putting SU still up 11-9, but the comebacks, it's happening for Louisville. And here it is, the free position shot for Louisville. Julian Balog, 11-10. Syracuse in a little bit of trouble. That was with 14:50 left in the second half. But there, Kayla Traynor, just too good. That goal puts SU up 12-10. It also gave her the all-time goal-scoring lead in SU women's lacrosse history. They walk off the field calmly after a big win. 13-10 would be the final, as the Syracuse women's lacrosse team is looking forward to Blacksburg, Virginia, and the ACC tournament after the win against the Cardinals. We saw the record-setting goal there in the highlights from Kayla Traynor, but Citrus TV's Kevin Case has more on the amazing feat.
With 1 second left in the first half of her senior day game, Kayla Traynor thought she had broken Syracuse's all-time goals record. But the buzzer-beating tally was ruled to have come too late. Despite the history at hand, Traynor says she wasn't interested in arguing the call.
No, I was shutting a mistake.
The senior from Niskayuna, New York, would go on to score her 251st career goal later in the second half. Traynor would not take too much credit for breaking the record after the game.
Without my teammates, I would have never gotten these opportunities, and without playing on such good teams, you don't get as many opportunities as I've been so fortunate to have.
But whether she wants to take credit or not, the all-time great has now converted more opportunities than any player in SU history. Reporting for Citrus TV Sports, I'm Kevin Case.
While the women's lacrosse team played Louisville at home, the women's softball team went down to Kentucky to take on the Cardinals in a 3-game set over the weekend. The SU women's softball team lost the first game 0-4, but they would get the game later on that day on Saturday by a flip of the score. 4-0 they beat the Cardinals, and then on Sunday the women failed to get the winning record for the weekend as a whole, losing 2-6 to the Cardinals. They wrap up the weekend at 1-2. But it was an impressive weekend for the women as a whole as they come back to the Dome. The Syracuse men's and women's basketball teams were honored by the city of Syracuse. The Common Council of the city of Syracuse honored both teams with a resolution. Basically, the city of Syracuse came to a consensus that the men's and women's teams deserved some type of honor after the years they both had. The women's basketball team went to its first Final Four in team history, while the men's basketball team went to the Final Four for the first time since 2013. On the men's side, they lost to North Carolina in the semifinal matchup, and for the women, they got all the way to the championship game before bowing out against the UConn Huskies. The NHL playoffs are in full swing, and last night provided some classic moments, with the New York Islanders winning their series in double overtime against the Florida Panthers. And hockey fans get more action tonight with a Game 6 and a Game 7 taking place. The Blackhawks are in St. Louis, while the Ducks are in Nashville. And you see the Game 7 is in St. Louis. That series tied 3-3. The puck drops at 8:30 for that, while the puck drops at 8 for the Anaheim-Nashville game.
Definitely going to be watching some NHL playoffs, but looking at the NBA playoffs, the only thing people are talking about, it seems, is Steph Curry's injury.
Yeah, it's really surprising. Everyone's wondering exactly how this Warriors team, recoups. He's out, expected to be out about, 2 weeks. They're up 3-1 in their series with Houston. I think a lot of people are maybe looking down the road if they match up with the San Antonio Spurs in the playoffs. If they don't have him, that's a much tougher series for the Warriors to win.
And KJ, I've also heard that Mike Tirico could be leaving ESPN. What have you heard?
I've only heard that it's not quite official yet. I've heard ESPN and NBC are both keeping it under wraps, which I totally understand. This is monumental in the world of sports broadcasting to Rico, a former SU alum. That would be huge if he goes over to NBC. I heard he's maybe thinking about doing it for the football coverage. Al Michaels, he's been in the game for a while. He might be retiring soon, so maybe there was some part of the deal where Tirico gets to call Thursday games for maybe a year or two, and then he shifts over to Sunday night, football night in America, which would be huge for him.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us, KJ, and we will be right back.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Well, thanks so much for joining us again, Rebecca. Now, looking into tomorrow morning, what do I need to be wearing for class?
Yes, you're definitely going to want to get out your rain boots and your umbrella tomorrow morning. It's going to be raining, 80% chance of rain tomorrow morning. And it's going to be a little chilly too, temperatures in the 40s, so definitely bundle up.
If there's rain in the morning and it's that cold, is that going to stay consistent throughout the rest of the day? What is it looking like in the afternoon?
Right now it's looking like it's going to clear up tomorrow afternoon, which is a good sign, but the rain could possibly stick around, so you just want to be prepared for rain all day.
Nice.
Thanks so much for joining us, Rebecca.
So, Catherine and everybody, really, this is our last show of the year, our last show ever with Citrus.
Hard to believe.
It seems like the last 4 years have just flown by. I'm particularly happy. I went day one to final day with my best friend, Carling Mott. She's my first friend at Citrus. She ends as my producer. Carling's been the best person I've met here. You're up there too, don't worry.
Thank you so much. I just feel like it's so hard to believe. I think we go from freshman year, I remember I ran this camera for the Monday show, the show that I'm now anchoring, which it's hard to believe that we are at this point. I don't know how we got here.
It's definitely crazy. I just want to thank Carling, everybody on the team. We are the CitrusTV self-won best show of the year, Monday News. That's because of you guys behind the camera and everybody around here. I love all of you. I'm going to miss everybody.
Absolutely couldn't do it without every single member of this team. I know that's for sure. There are so many people that go behind the scenes that everyone tunes in each night and they have to deal with hearing us and seeing us. But they don't get to see everyone else in the role that they play. Absolutely.
And that does it for our show tonight. For more on the latest news, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter and like us on Facebook. For the last time, I'm Josh Bazan.
And I'm Katherine Robinson. Thanks so much for watching us the entire semester, the entire past 4 years, and thanks for watching us tonight. Have a great night, Syracuse.